She opens her mouth and a lie comes out. Meghan Markle's despicable new interview with Emily Chang from Bloomberg, an interviewer who wasn't prepared to question her on any of these lies as they grabbed burgers and beers at one of her favourite local spots, was yet again a despicable and ludicrous attack on the royal family, as she claimed that she was told to wear nude pantyhose while being controlled in terms of her speech. Let me repeat, in case there are some people who are missing this at the back. I was there through this entire period, reporting through this entire period. Meghan Markle was never told within the British royal family what to say or what to wear. The royal family were acutely aware that this woman had plans to make trouble for them in the future. So these are lies. And we're going to deconstruct them today with royal YouTube sensation P. Dina, who is back in her studio after her travels to the United Kingdom and Europe. But let's kick off with, I think, the most egregious claim from this totally propaganda-like interview.
Is there an inherent tension in trying to be relatable while also being a duchess?
No, I don't find, I'm just being myself. So I think probably it was different several years ago where I couldn't be as vocal and I had to wear nude pantyhose all the time. Let's be honest, that was not very myself. I hadn't seen pantyhose since movies in the 80s when they came in the little egg. That felt a little bit inauthentic, but that's a silly example. But it is an example of when you're able to dress the way you want to dress and you're able to say the things that are true and you're able to show up in the space really organically and authentically. That's being comfortable in your own skin. And that's, of course, had different chapters in my life. But right now, no, I don't feel that I need to prove anything.
As the Royal Rogue posted, it's like a greatest hits album of all of Meghan's body language traits rolled into one absolute masterpiece. P. Dina, when is she going to start being called out for these lies? Shame on Bloomberg. I thought they were a credible news organisation. No pushback whatsoever. She is painting a fantasy. I mean, it's interesting she's now not talking about the neutral colours, given that's usually what she chooses to wear even in Montecito.
Yeah, exactly, Dan. You know, Meghan is the kind of person that wants to paint things a certain way, and she really only speaks with people who are going to collaborate in helping her to paint that image. However, when I watched this interview, I did point out and see a few things that where they did call her out. It was very subtle. And I think that's the only way you can get Meghan to cooperate and work with you. But the things that they did say, or like Emily said, where she talked about Meghan would not share the sales figures with them. And even towards the end of the interview, they gave a blueprint about, you know, the only way she can be successful is to have a personality or a brand that people like, that they want to buy from, purchase from. It was very subtle. But at the same time, I think, yes, the narrative is always go along with what I'm trying to paint and show people, and then I will speak with you. And I think for most people, they really do need to call her out in a way is very blatant.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying. I think Emily Chang knows that the whole brand is a disaster because it's a business network. But the problem is, it's this narrative in regards to the royal family, in regards to the United Kingdom, because also she couldn't even bring herself when she was asked about Montecito to just make it positive about California. You can see, and we'll look at this, everything is about looking back to how horrible and awful and revolting her time was in the royal family. And again, you've got to read between the lines here, but it's very, very obvious what she's trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
Let's
know,
just have a
Meghan,
watch and then I'll get you to react,
Okay.
Dina. Sorry.
all right.
What's it about Montecito? Like, what made this place feel like home more than other places?
Well, we moved here 5 years ago. Oh, we're just so happy because can take our kids to school and have a really supported, sweet life, running around and doing the things that I think everyone maybe is part of your day-to-day, but if you don't think about what life would be like without those moments, it's easy to take them for granted. So I love it. We have such a beautiful, embracing community. And been able to really create and dream.
Again, I'm sorry, P. Dinah, I just call bullshit on this. She had a completely supported life within the royal family. She would absolutely have been able to take her children to school. Have you ever seen a paparazzi shot from the United Kingdom of William or Catherine taking their children to school? No. Have you seen shots of Harry and Meghan taking their children to school in California? Yes, you have. So again, another lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan is not in a good space to even be likable. Let's just say that. The fact that she continually makes digs at her life within the royal family and living in the United Kingdom just shows you she's not ready for growth. She's not ready to get beyond the things that she experienced in the United Kingdom. And this is why people are just not going to warm to her. She's not likable. Give an honest answer to your life in Montecito without trying to make the royal family or your life in the UK seem like it was hell on earth. I mean, the things that you're saying, you can do anywhere in the world. Why are you saying these things as if you're now just getting the first chance to do these things and dream and live this life? It's ridiculous. Meghan will never be able to be likable because she always, through this whole interview, makes digs at her previous life. I would have been grateful to have half the experiences that she had living in the royal family. You know, this is Meghan, once again, just being the mean girl that we know her to be. That's exactly what it is, Dan.
Yeah, and then and look, this is one of those examples where Emily does try to call her out very, very softly. Again, total make-believe around how her name works, how the dukedom works. Watch this. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button now. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
Question. What have you learned about yourself since becoming Sussex?
Well, interesting. What I learned about myself is no matter what my name is or what people call me, I'm still the same person. So that didn't change who I am. And maybe that's probably the biggest distinguishing factor.
Give me a tutorial on royal naming conventions. So, like, are you Meghan Sussex? Are you Meghan Duchess of Sussex?
Mm-hmm.
Is Markle even on your passport anymore? Is it, we don't use that term anymore?
Well, when I got married, I changed my name.
Yeah.
But it's a complicated one for people to understand because a last name is not typical in that construct.
I think we expect a last name, but is that a last name or is that actually
It's not, but
a last
it's used roughly, or loosely rather. It sounds so silly to say, and I get it because I'm American, and then I went there and I started to understand, then you come back, and as an American you go, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
It's a dukedom.
A dukedom. That's a new word for me.
It's a dukedom.
Okay.
So, but that's the truth of it. But at the end of the day, you know, yes, so my legal name is Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. But Sussex, for us, works as our family name. And it's the name that we share with our children. And but yes, since we've been married, that's what I've been called.
I mean, she doesn't know what she's talking about, but the whole thing is completely awful because there's also that complete condescending tone looking down on the British royal family. Oh, it's a dukedom. Well, why are you clinging to it then? But look, there's two sides of this debate. Narinder Kaur says, firstly, it's Meghan Sussex. Secondly, she's entitled to have her say on her experiences. Thirdly, wearing old granny tights in nudes was left in the 1980s, and it's hilarious how we value freedom of speech. Yet a duchess felt she couldn't even be her true self in the royal family. She was expected to be fake. But according to Taz, on the other hand, said, notice how she just couldn't answer the question simply. I thought she was Meghan Sussex now. Or did she just say that to Mindy? Basically, she hasn't got a clue herself. It's whatever earns her the most attention and money. And P. Dinah, it was such a typical Meghan answer, wasn't it? Like, oh, I know why you're so confused, because you're a stupid American. No, we're all confused because you have not made this clear one bit.
And, once again, she just makes up things that she wants people to believe about her. Mountbatten Windsor is her last name. This is a woman who is trying to create a narrative and make other people feel as if, oh, they're stupid, these Americans, they don't know what's going on. Well, hey, the Brits don't either. They're like, why are you doing this? And I feel like Meghan is this woman that just feels like she can write her own rules and do whatever she wants to do, and no one's going to say anything.
Meghan Markle has done another interview, this time with Bloomberg's Emily Chang, and it's already stirring up controversy. Critics are calling it one-sided, saying the interviewer didn't really challenge Meghan on any of her claims. One of Meghan's main points was that during her time in the royal family, she felt restricted, like being told to wear nude pantyhose and hold back on speaking freely. She framed it as living inauthentically, but commentators strongly dispute this, insisting she was never actually told what to say or wear, and accusing her of rewriting history to paint herself as a victim. The conversation goes further, with Meghan saying she finally feels free and supported in Montecito, describing a sweet, simple life with her family. But critics push back again, saying she had those same freedoms in the UK and that her digs at royal life are unnecessary. The idea is that instead of simply praising her current lifestyle, she continues to rehash negativity about her time as a royal, which makes her come across as bitter rather than relatable. There was also confusion around her name. Meghan tried to explain how titles like Duchess of Sussex work, but her explanation was seen as vague and even condescending, with critics accusing her of not really understanding the royal naming system herself, and of using whatever version suits her image best. Overall, the reaction is that Meghan once again used the platform to criticize her past in the royal family, with some saying she's spinning a narrative for attention and money, rather than moving on.
And this is why I think the royal family, they really have to control the narrative around this woman. She is trying to do things that she knows are not okay to do, but yet no one says anything. And that's a problem because they've never faced anyone like this before. And I think this is part of the problem. They have never had a Meghan Markle before. But something needs to give here. Someone needs to come out. Hey, look, Meghan, no. That is not your name. They need to really blatantly come out and say these words to make it very clear. Because Meghan needs to she needs someone to tell her, hold up, wait a minute. You're not going to continue creating this false narrative for the people because she will continue to do it and see how far she can take it. That's what she does. Someone needs to put a stop to it. It's unbelievable how this woman just thinks she can just go about her day and say what she wants and look down on people and make jibes at the royal family and just continue doing her little show and painting her little pretty pictures.
Yeah. And
She
her
needs
little
someone
sort
to
of
show
like
her.
dismissive laugh when she's asked
Yes.
something that she can't answer. And this happens at another point where Emily Chang really tries to drill down on like whether Meghan is constantly trying to rebrand herself. Watch this.
Between the show and as ever, the podcast.
It's been a busy year.
It's been a busy year. You were off social media for years and now you're back on. Do you feel like you're sort of launching a new you or rebranding yourself?
No, I think, how funny. No, I think I finally get to share the me that's been here for so long that people maybe haven't had the same visibility to. Coming back on Instagram was a really big decision, but also it's just been joyful. And I'm really intentional in using it as a platform to share joy and to have fun as well. And so I get to play and explore. I play in public.
Oh, P. Diner, it's when she sort of tries to make Emily Chang feel stupid. This is her tactic. You see, oh, how funny that you've asked that. No, you have rebranded yourself. You are constantly trying to rebrand yourself. It's not working.
Yeah, I think Megan feels like she is better than everyone else, simply put. She just really has this aura about her that makes her feel like, I'm in royalty and I can talk and say what I want. These are my experiences and whatever you think is what you think, but I'm going to do what I wanted to do. And that's, I think, where the problem is for Megan is as she continues to try to make herself seem like someone that we should buy products from and buy into her as ever, All while she's doing all of this stuff, Dan, we are really beginning to know and see her for who she is, and we don't like her. She's unlikable. And it's the arrogance of this woman that's gotten her caught up in this conundrum that she will eventually figure out she can't win. She will never win for this attitude right here. It will leave her on the bottom floor every single time because she just doesn't get it. You're not likable. Not no one's buying from you. Nobody.
No, I mean, I think the most uncomfortable part of the entire interview for Meghan was when, for the first time I've ever seen this, she was challenged, because she hasn't been challenged at all about the terrible structure of the business and the failure of all of that. But for the first time, she was challenged directly about the bad reviews. Now, that's an understatement, of course, because the whole Netflix thing has been a flop, but it's very interesting to see how she reacts, because this is a woman who hates even the slightest bit of criticism or someone just actually speaking the reality about her failure. Watch this.
Hit the top 10
Yeah,
globally.
globally.
And yet there were mixed reviews.
I watched every episode of the Meghan Markle Netflix show, so you don't have to.
Today my guest is a dear friend who I've known for about 20 years, so welcome in, Fabian.
Meghan, right?
Yeah, Megan, right.
I saw so many people recreate her recipe, so like, where's the hate coming from?
How did that land for you?
I think I knew who I was trying to meet. And so if you know your audience, you know your demographic, well, they love the show. And my partners love the show, and that's why we have a season 2 and why we have more fun coming. So I think oftentimes the negative voices, are they saying negative things and then secretly going home and making single skillet spaghetti? Possibly. And that's all right. They're trying to pay their bills, and that's for them to sort out if they're comfortable doing it at someone else's detriment. From my standpoint, the intention of the show was to share more of myself, to share tips that I love in my life, and to have fun.
But there's this take that you're glorifying homemaking or glorifying trad wives.
Oh, really? That feels odd to me.
Yeah, how do you respond to that?
That feels odd to me. I mean, I hadn't heard that. But I'm really unapologetic about the fact that though, would it be lovely to go and churn your own butter? Sure, maybe. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And I don't think you get an extra gold star if you do that. So for me, a lot of it is, how do you show up thoughtfully? I don't have time to make dinner every night. I wish I did. I don't have time for that. I'm great at ordering takeout and plating it beautifully. And look, and yes, do I have small things where even on my kids' plates, I wipe the side of the plate? Someone might go, oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous. For me, that's 2 seconds where I get to present something that looks a little bit more beautiful. I have absolutely no judgment on trad wives. If that works for them, then they should do it. But for me, I think there is an in-between. And joy for me comes in finding that sweet spot in the middle.
Oh my God, P. Dinah, this was one of the most fascinating moments for me. So there's 2 aspects that I want to pick up on, right? Firstly, she says, and you can just see the brittle fury, the partners loved the show. That's why we have a season 2. Rubbish. Another lie. You're lying again. Netflix decided not to have a season 2, but just to break up season 1 into 2 parts because the whole thing was such a disaster. Then note that she doesn't say, and there's another series coming. She says there's more fun coming. That's because at this point, there is no series 3. There may well never be a series 3. Then you get to the trad wife thing. I mean, how stupid does she think she is? Of course she knows people are talking about this. And this utter lunacy that she thinks in some ways, because she's liberal, because she's on the left, that she's not a trad wife, when she's wittering on about plating up her husband's takeaway nicely.
There was just so much in that clip, Dan, just so much. And then how she tries to take a dig at people who are, the noise. She calls the noise the people on the internet and the people that are trolling her, criticizing her. Meghan, does she not remember what she did to pay her bills? Like, you literally put out a series about your life in the royal family, how she takes blatant digs at people. Meghan is just such a mean person. She can't help herself. She always has to say things that are so condescending.
So here's where things get really heated. The main point being made is that the royal family needs to step in and actually push back on Meghan Markle's claims. Critics feel she's being allowed to say whatever she wants, even when it's misleading, and that someone from the monarchy needs to flat out correct her before these false narratives take root. Then the interview moves into Meghan's supposed rebranding. When asked directly if she's reinventing herself, Meghan brushes it off with a little laugh and says no, she's just finally able to show the real me. But critics aren't buying it. They argue that Meghan is constantly trying to rebrand, but it comes across as arrogant, condescending, and ultimately unrelatable. The way she dismisses questions with how funny is seen as a tactic to belittle the interviewer and dodge accountability. The real tension, though, comes when Meghan is finally pressed about her Netflix projects and their bad reviews. For once, she's forced to face criticism. Instead of owning it, she insists her partners love the show, claims there's a season 2, and says critics are just negative people. But commentators quickly point out this is misleading. Netflix didn't commission a new season, they just split season 1 into parts because the first was such a flop. Her comments about homemaking and plating takeout beautifully only made things worse, as critics argue she's trying to spin basic tasks into something profound while dismissing real conversations about trad wife culture. The vibe? She comes off as out of touch, self-important, and unwilling to accept failure. By the end, the takeaway is clear: Meghan Markle is being painted as arrogant, unlikable, and obsessed with controlling her image. The more she tries to rewrite her story, the more people feel they're seeing her true colors, and they don't like what they see.
Lies like you're mentioning with the season 2. There's just so much that this woman does that makes her unlikable. And I just, like, how dare you say what you say about people in the noise when you do the exact same thing? You're the reason why we can talk about this, because of what you have done to the royal family. This woman has done such evil and mean things and has not shown any gratitude for what the royal family have given her. But yet she sits there as if she is this perfect person, acting really like a trad wife. I mean, doing things that she knows people are saying about her. And I just don't understand how she can just sit there
Totally.
and
But
spew these
isn't this the
words.
problem? It's the shape shifting. It's like
Yeah,
it's like she can never just acknowledge anything. And so
never.
she tries to say, like, oh, this is my truth. People are getting to know the real me. What is the real you, Meghan? Well, unfortunately, we know, because we know from the accounts of all of the people who you have bullied and who you have treated appallingly, including your own flesh and blood in recent years. I thought there was another fascinating moment when she's asked about the whole celebrity brand thing and how it's a saturated market. And again, Meghan immediately, and she does pull herself back, because this is what's interesting. Sometimes she answers in her true colors and then she's like, oh shit, I need to pull back on that. But I really want you to watch closely, because what she does initially is slam all other celebrities who have launched brands. Because of course, they don't care about their brands. She's
Right.
the only celebrity who really cares about her brand and is writing all of the copy, which means, by the way, I knew she was writing it, when we get that awful, like, sort of those terrible puns, that come in on the As Ever newsletter and things. She's been writing them herself. But it's very interesting. Watch this.
Celebrity brands are all the rage right now. What's going to make yours stand out?
I think the authenticity is probably what will help it stand apart. Also, the price point. I think certainly when we're looking at economically what's happening right now, you really want things to be in a range that people can still have a piece of, whatever ends up happening with our economy. More than anything, I've just poured so much love into this brand. And I would say the same for so many of these celebrities who probably have dreamed of something for a long time. And at the same time, when they see it come to fruition, for a lot of them, are they writing copy and doing all these things that maybe they are, which I think is incredible. Everyone is putting out something unique in the world, even if it feels like there's a million tequilas. I'm sure they all have a different point of view in some regard. And I really do believe that a high tide raises all boats. I believe that. I think there's room for all of us.
But do you see, at the start, there was that clear implication.
Yep.
I'm the real deal. The others aren't. They don't really care. I care.
Right. Right. And she's going to stand out because she's authentic. Girl, you are the least authentic person in all the people that they showed, okay? No, Megan, your brand is not different in a way that makes people draw to it. You know how she was saying how they maybe are not doing and writing copy, and that she loves, like, she's making herself be like, well, she really works hard what she's doing. The other people that are doing this, they're not doing writing copy and doing all these different things and really truly love what they're doing. It's like she's trying to make herself seem like, well, she should be the one that really is successful because she's doing things that others are not doing. And here's the thing, Dan, the other people that they showed with their brands, these are people who were already successful in their own right. This was just a second nature thing that they're doing. Megan is coming off the back of being married to a royal and doing this. The other people have already been celebrities and made millions of dollars doing their talented thing.
And
that
by
they
the way,
already
Pamela
do.
Anderson is donating her proceeds to charity because
Right.
that's how much she cares. It's a different level of care. It's not to feather her own nest, keep her in a mansion. Now, of course,
Yes.
P. Dinah, in Meghan's little alternate universe, and this was the other part of the interview that actually infuriated me the most, because in her little alternate universe, if there is true reporting on her, she has decided to just dismiss it as clickbait. So that now means, P. Dinah, I'm clickbait, you're clickbait, but so too is Vanity Fair. So too is The Hollywood Reporter. So too is Newsweek. So too is the New York Times. She is asking her dwindling bunch of followers, and they really are now, because if you're still buying this, you've really got to get your head read, that the only people who are writing about her are doing so for financial motivations and just inventing these stories that have only been reported by all of us for the past 5 years. Watch.
To sort of show your whole self.
I waffle with some of my choices before I make them. I'm generally very decisive, but social media is a great barometer for this for me, because putting out a video of myself 9 months pregnant was a really big choice, but I also wanted people to see themselves in my story and our story, and to be able to show that with all the noise that might happen in the world on a day-to-day basis, real life is still happening behind the scenes. Really real life.
But you put that out there and some people, like, they tear it apart, you know?
I'm sure they did, I don't know. But I also protect myself from seeing that.
It's been interesting preparing for this interview because every day you search for your name and there's like 1,000 different news stories about 1,000 different things.
Yes.
And so...
But I guess the distinction there is those people don't know me and they're not talking about me. And that's a really hard place to come to terms with. Yeah. But that's the truth. So if you can really compartmentalize it and go, oh, right, there is a very, very powerful machine, and it's all about generating income. Mm-hmm. Those stories aren't just appearing because it's fun. Clickbait has a huge financial implication. And so if I'm part of an SEO and that gets them more clickbait, then yes, they're incentivized to churn out as many stories, false or damaging or whatnot, to feed the beast, because that's paying them. And I think a lot of people forget the economic element of it. And I think from my standpoint, that's why I don't look at it. It would be very hard to see anything about yourself that isn't true. But equally, it's not me that they're talking about. It's some caricature they've had to create to get clicks. And I'm very clear on the difference between the two.
I mean, honestly, P. Dinah, this shows this is a woman who doesn't have her mental faculties anymore. I mean, she had to create such a world, a fantasy world, because no one's making money from her. And certainly there's been no desire from mainstream media publications like The Hollywood Reporter, like Vanity Fair, like New York Times. They wanted to be on her side. So what is she talking about?
Meghan is a person that is so beyond reality. We are talking about you. Yeah, we're talking about you, Meghan Markle. You are the one that has given us the information to talk about. We do know you. We know the people that you've been around. We know your life within royalty, your family members. We know a lot about you. Yes, we are talking about you and the horrible things that you have done, Meghan Markle. And you're the one that is feeding this so-called beast by your bad behavior, because we're simply reacting to the things that you are actually doing. Yeah, we are simply talking about the bad behavior of this woman, and she is out of her mind if she thinks we're just making up and creating caricatures of her. Woman, we see the things that you are doing. Okay. And the other thing, when she talked about the social media and the barometer for metrics and all of this, and then she says, oh, but I don't watch those things. I don't watch those. Well, then
Yeah.
how do you know
Well,
what people are
exactly.
saying? Like, you're
How do you
contradicting
know
yourself.
what SEO is if you're not even looking? By the way, it stands for search engine optimization. And then actually, P. Dana, I thought this was probably in some ways the most telling. She's actually given an opportunity because all she does is, this is not the real me. This is not the real me. People don't know the real me. There's all of these lies. It's money, money, money. So she's actually given an opportunity. What is your truth? What is the thing that you really want people to know? And at that point, we don't get anything. We get total mumbo jumbo. We get, Californian woke speak without actually revealing any truths. Watch.
Choose one thing for people to know the truth about you. What would that one thing be?
No one's ever asked me that. What a great question. The one thing. Oh gosh, what's the one thing? Oh gosh, I think that when I sit with it for a second here, I just want people to know that I'm a real person. And I think a lot of that gets lost in what can be super dehumanizing when you look at the clickbait culture and how much is written about someone. It's like, no, my friends have to read those things. Like, I have real best friends, the same ones since I was 17. I'm a real mom. I choose to go and do school pickup and drop off, but I do that under a landscape that is created that forgets that I'm a real person. And how would you want someone to treat a real person in your life that you cared about or loved or respected? And so there's something about that, I think, that often gets lost. And even though earlier I was saying you can compartmentalize, like I say that's a caricature. Yes, but my kids will see those magazines, and we all know moms gossip. And so I have to make a choice to move through the world as myself in spite of all the noise that's created. But maybe there would be less noise if people remembered that I'm a real person.
You're a real person.
Yeah.
I can say I'm here, and I can attest.
Pinch me, I'm real. She's real. She's a real person.
So she had that opportunity, P. Dana. And yet again, it was clickbait, it was negativity, it was gossipy mums, but it wasn't anything about who she is.
Yeah, she's a real person, right? You're a real person. Yeah, a
What does
real
that
nasty
mean?
person.
Yeah.
I know. It's like you think we just making up like you're like an illusion, you're a hologram or something. We know you're a real person. And you're not a very nice person, Meghan Markle. Get in the real world and understand what people are actually saying about you and stop giving these fluff answers that I'm a real person. Like, try to be a better person because, yes, your children are going to read these things. You need to shapen up and change your attitude and show how you have missed the beat when it comes to the things that you've been given and how you have slagged off the royal family for everything that they have done and helped you with. The only reason why we're even speaking
So, the whole discussion really centered on Meghan Markle and how she continues to present herself publicly versus how people perceive her. Critics point out that she often shifts her image, trying to appear authentic, humble, and relatable, but at the same time making digs at others and painting herself as the only one who truly cares about her brand. For instance, she implied that most celebrities don't really put the work in, while she does everything from writing the copy to pouring love into her projects. But when pressed about her truth, what people should really know about her, she didn't share anything personal or meaningful, just that she's a real person. The pushback was that Meghan isn't being authentic at all. Instead, she dismisses real reporting about her as clickbait, even when it comes from reputable outlets. Critics argue that her contradictions, her tendency to play the victim, and her refusal to acknowledge past behavior make her come across as disingenuous and unlikable. And while she claims she doesn't look at social media, she clearly does, otherwise, how would she know what people are saying? At the end of the day, the takeaway here is that Meghan is still caught in this bubble of trying to control her image while ignoring the reality of how she's viewed. People know her story, they've seen her behavior, and they feel her answers don't match her actions. And that wraps up today's breakdown. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, it really helps the channel grow. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest royal updates and deep dives. And if you want more right now, go ahead and click on the video popping up on screen, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.